A new book shedding light on their relationship or lack thereof. Quote, President Biden knows full well Vice President Kamala Harris is not up to the job of commander-in-chief.
This is taking too long. So I will summarize. Listen very carefully. This woman is sick and should be committed to a mental institution. The end.
What's up, guys? Boy Benny. It's a modern marvel miracle of science that Joe Biden is even able to open his eyes anymore. He can barely talk. He can barely walk. He wobbles around kind of like a robot. And we think we have video of him actually crapping his pants. In fact, a congressperson was on our show just the other day saying that Joe Biden crapped himself. And so anyway, Joe Biden is barely there. But why does Joe Biden cling on? Why does he hang on for dear life? Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump doesn't think Joe Biden will make it to the end of the election cycle in 2024.
Do you think Biden will drop out?
Personally, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
But now we know exactly why Joe Biden may be clinging on. Any other person who, loves their husband or father or whatever, would say a person in Joe Biden's condition, you got to go, okay? Straight to the nursing home. You got to get one of those bedpans to sleep with. You got to get one of those life alerts to punch around your neck, right? Oh my God, I've fallen. But now, based on a brand new book, we can see that Joe Biden doesn't think that Kamala Harris is up to the job. Joe Biden didn't think that Kamala Harris was up to the job in the year 2020, saying that she was a bumbling fool. The 59-year-old is just a brain stroke away from the presidency. Many of her struggles and mistakes during the first year in office were top of mind. The 81-year-old president is clinging on for dear life because he knows that Kamala Harris is really just such a massive cluster that there's just it wouldn't be possible to recover. So if you think Joe Biden's bad, imagine President Kamala Harris. Those issues include her bullying White House staff, refusal to be a team player, as well as her artificial public presence. Her drip of resignations from the VP staff has come as a result of her soul-destroying criticism and, well, her ability to absolutely polarize everyone that works with her. The hilarious, incompetent, trailblazing radical suffered disastrous and comical first years as vice president, noting that her limited authority as the Biden administration border czar. Joe Biden apparently wanted to pick Gretchen Whitmer, who's the tyrannical governor of Michigan. How do you fix Kamala Harris? Nobody's sure, ladies and gentlemen. The book recounts how Harris was also not the choice of Joe Biden's wife, Jill, who favored former Obama National Security Advisor Susan Rice for the role. So Harris also called Joe Biden a racist, a dirty racist, when they were running for president against each other. So yeah, bad times in Biden White House. Now we have this, ladies and gentlemen, the CNN report that is sort of pivoting off of this book and some of the many other reports about what a wretched witch Kamala Harris is. CNN reporter did the closest that you possibly could to on-camera news version of fellatio to Kamala Harris during this interview. Yet still sort of jabbed a dagger right into her side by saying, nobody likes you. That's amazing. So Laura Coates went with Kamala Harris to an event, probably 10 people there, and she says, I'm struck being in your presence. I watched you on stage, looking at you in the eye with your passion. Yeah, like starting OnlyFans, you know what I mean? Hey, just quit the news business. Get out there, baby. There's a fortune to be made for you. But then what she goes on to say, and what isn't included in this tweet, is she goes on to say, nobody likes you. And nobody wants to vote for Joe Biden because they think that that might be handing you the White House. Oh, man, it is a hard to watch clip. Check this out.
Let me ask you one more question. I'm struck just in your presence. I was watching you on stage.
I'm struck in your presence. I have people on my show that I like. We interview people that I admire, professionally, and I think that they have a good vision for the country. Never would I ever turn to a Donald Trump or Tucker Carlson or Vivek, I'm a fan of Vivek, and say, I am struck in your presence. You're your magnanimity is like the sun. It's like, it's just so grotesque. Get a room and start an OnlyFans. Sure.
Watching the reactions from the crowd, looking you in the eye with your passion that you were displaying and talking about so many issues. And yet you hear candidates suggesting that a vote for President Biden because of his age is somehow a vote for you. And that is hurled as an insult.
See, there it goes. She goes straight from the deep pool blue of your eyes I could drown myself in to voting for Joe Biden means people don't want to vote for Biden because you're actually more unpopular than Joe Biden, who's the most unpopular president in our lifetimes. Continue.
It's intended to demonstrate some negative viewpoint towards you. What is your reaction to this thought that with your background in particular, with your career, that there is some thought that you are incapable?
Well, I think that...
So the whole question, the setup of the question is like a poem read in in Kamala Harris's honor, and with tears rolling down the cheeks of the CNN correspondent, and then the CNN correspondent being like, "But also everyone hates you, and you're less popular than Joe Biden," which is factually true.
Most women who have risen in their profession, who are leaders in their profession, have had similar experiences. I was the first woman to be elected district attorney. I was the first woman to be elected attorney general in the state of California. And I'm the first woman to be vice president.
Oh, okay. So your gender, by the way, don't ask her what the follow-up question to this should be, what is a woman? The follow-up question for this would be, okay, so you just prattled off a bunch of stuff based on your gender, something that you were born with, that you didn't earn, that you didn't create, that you didn't, get through meritocracy or through some great efforting skill. You were literally born this gender. So what is a woman? That should be the instant next conversation, the instant next question. Ooh, that would have been a great response. Instead, we get this.
And I love my job.
Well, your job don't love you. Kamala Harris hits a new record low for VP favorability. She is the least popular vice president ever. Vice President Biden's rating was +1. Dick Cheney was low. Al Gore was low. 49% of registered voters have a negative view of Kamala Harris, compared with only 32% having a positive view. Harris's net -17 is the lowest for a vice president poll in history. And she loves her job. Kamala Harris's approval rating is a 2024 problem. According to Newsweek, Kamala Harris's already poor approval rating fell further in 2023, with one prominent political scientist saying that her unpopularity could end up being a difference maker in the 2024 election. Well, why exactly is Kamala Harris so unpopular? Why does Donald Trump say time and time again that they're going to replace Joe Biden, but maybe they can't because Kamala Harris is too unpopular, right? Here's Trump positing that.
Nobody can want to vote for this guy. Nobody. And maybe he makes it to the gate. I don't know if he makes it to the gate. I don't think it even matters anymore because they have been so destructive to our country, what they've done as a party, that I don't even think it matters. Who are they going to put in? A guy from California that's destroyed that state? They're going to put in Kamala? Kamala. Actually, our numbers are better against Kamala than they are against Joe. So
That's exactly right, Trump. And so when Kamala Harris is asked about Joe Biden and how healthy he is, Kamala Harris says, well, he's alive.
some Democratic donors, and they have told us that should something befall President Biden and he is not able to run, that there would be a free-for-all for who would run as president.
Because Joe Biden is very much alive and running for re-election.
Joe Biden's alive and running for re-election. When you ask Kamala Harris a question she doesn't like, Kamala Harris is happy, especially with liberal reporters. She's like, I control you. to use the woman
I'm
card.
going to go to the border. And
When are you going to the border, Vice
the
President?
administration has asked. I'm not finished. I've said I'm going to the border.
I'm not finished, Kamala Harris says.
Gentleman of the United States, my husband, Doug Emhoff, and he's the second gentleman of the United States.
Well, we know that your communities are in shambles. They're drug infested, rat holes. You can't afford food or gas. And there's an invasion happening along with a bunch of wars that we started. But remember, we have the second gentleman, you see, and that's what you should care about. Other things you should care about, issues like this.
Prominent Washington Post articles today talking about President Biden's age, and that's a big concern among the young voters. And in growing poll numbers, that's a big concern. Are people right to be concerned about his age at this point?
Well, let me just say this. When I talk to these young voters, what they want is a leader who is in touch with the problems of today and has a vision for what we can do today and in the future to deal with it. President Biden is the first president to take on in any substantial way the issue of the climate crisis.
Oh, really? Okay. So that's why Kamala Harris. So Kamala Harris understands this. She's so smart. And this is why Kamala Harris goes and reaches out to young voters and explains things so crystal clear like this.
Love the idea of exploring the unknown. And then there's other things that we just haven't figured out or discovered yet. You guys are gonna see. You're gonna literally see the craters on the moon with your own eyes. Oh my goodness. With your own eyes, I'm telling you, it is gonna be unbelievable. It gives us a sense of the magnitude of it all.
Okay, I can't take it anymore. It goes on and on and on forever. You can tell Kamala Harris has never had kids because she talks to children like they have mental handicaps. You should just like talk to kids like they're kids. Kamala Harris, of course, chose to be a bad career woman instead. And that's not going well, by the way. It's not going well with leftists who are openly plotting against her, right? Here from the New York Post, Michelle Obama may already be working on a 2024 White House bid. Oh, yeah. Coming soon. Apparently, donors are being asked to poll out Michelle Obama. So what do they think about Michelle Obama? That's what donors are being asked. But more importantly, it's not getting Kamala Harris any friends on her own side. Like her failures and Joe Biden's failures are actually collapsing the base of support, the teeny base of support that they do have, which is housed exclusively inside of the corporate press offices in Washington, D.C., New York, and Los Angeles. But even those offices are beginning to collapse. Here's one of my favorite interviews of all time. Charlemagne the God interviewing Kamala Harris and calling her on her bullshit. Oh, it is choice. Check this out.
Is it Joe Manchin or Joe Biden, Madam Vice President?
Come on, Charlemagne.
Come
on. It's Joe Biden.
I can't tell sometimes.
No. It's Joe Biden. It's Joe Biden. And don't start talking like a Republican about asking whether or not he's president. It's Joe Biden.
Do you think Joe Manchin is a problem?
It's Joe Biden. And I'm vice president, and my name is Kamala Harris. And the reality is, because we are in office, we do the things like the child tax credit, which is going to reduce black child poverty by 50%, on track to do that. We do things that are about saying that our Department of Justice is going to do these investigations and require that we end chokeholds and have body cameras. It is the work of saying we're going to get lead out of pipes and paint because our babies are suffering because of that. It is the work of saying people who ride public transit deserve the same kind of dignity that anybody else does. So let's improve that system. It is the work of saying that we have got to bring down prescription drug costs because folks who have diabetes should not be dying because they don't have enough money in their pocket. It's about saying black maternal mortality is a real issue that must be treated by everybody, including the White House, as a serious issue. Okay? So I hear the frustration, but let's not deny the impact that we've had.
and agree also that there is a whole lot more work to be done. And it is not easy to do, but we will not give up, and I will not give up.
I just want you to know that Madam Vice President, that Kamala Harris, that's the one I like. That's the one that was putting the pressure on people in Senate hearings. That's the one I'd like to see.
Come on, Charlemagne. Who's the real president? Oh, man. Sometimes friendly fire is so fun, okay, and friendly. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe in order to stop Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, in order to stay incredibly, impeccably based.